Hello, guys, and welcome back to Joe's Ventures. And today, even though I'm quite a bit late for this, because I'm on the opposite side of the planet in Frontier, so I gotta do a day of work before I get a chance to record this. But here is my review and a little go over of Planet Zoo 2. So, considering a lot of the updates that have happened with Jurassic World Evolution and Planet Coaster 2, I am very excited to see how this looks, and I gotta say I'm blown away. But we're gonna have a look at the trailer first. So let's watch the announcement trailer. And would you look at that? That's the announcement for Planet Zoo 2. I am so excited. So let's go through a little rundown and then we'll go through the site and stuff. And that gives us a little bit of opportunity to talk about some of the other stuff that's going on. So yeah, this is kind of some of our new developments and stuff, new scenery. So yeah, looks pretty standard to other zoo games. Oh, the last game. And a little, the guests don't look too different. Definitely, you can see the lighting has improved immeasurably. Some new sculptures and stuff. You can see some kelp decal and stuff like that, of course, to do with the aquatic. So let's have a look as we carry on. So we go up. Up. You can see there's definitely looks like something going on there. Might be some tanks by the looks of it. Yeah, and another enclosure here, classic walkways and stuff like that. But yeah, we're going to have a look here. So this is one of our first new animals suggested for the game. So this is actually the Sumatran tiger. Officially, it's the Sumatran tiger, which I have to say is very impressive to get that one. You can tell because of its larger kind of ruffed there and its thinner stripes. But yeah, it came out amazing. And you can see the fidelity, the model on this is absolutely incredible. I think the biggest problem with the Planet Zoo cats was because they, of course, were a little bit more cartoonish initially when the game started. And then, as you go back into later development and eventually, some of the latest packs, the animals, not going to say the dinosaurs, but the animals were a lot more realistic. So I think they've kind of gone back and had to look at some of the animals and made them fit that style a bit better, that more realistic style. And of course, they just blown it out of the park with the Sumatran tiger. Look at that fidelity. That skin and hair texture is absolutely incredible. I am immensely impressed with how they've done that. And you can see the lighting and everything. Oh, it just looks peak, Planet Peak. That's what we're going to call it. Not Planet Zoo, Planet Peak. So it looks really, really nice. And then as we carry on, this little girl's like, oh my gosh, look. And she looks and runs, and we go to our aquarium. So a lot of people, Zoo Tycoon fans, we love to have aquariums and stuff like that, and that's been one of the highly requested features, and everyone was wondering, are we going to get them in Planet Zoo 2? And, well, we are! So you can look at that, you can see we've got all these shoaling fish, you've got those regal blue yellow tang, and you've got all these other different species like schooling bannerfish and other species as well. And you can see how Mola, really, really cool aquarium fish, it's actually the largest bony fish in the world. And we can also see some other species in the background there. So this one here, this is a hawksbill sea turtle. So we're not just getting fish, we're getting some marine reptiles. And hopefully some marine mammals, which we'll get into a little bit later. But yeah, it looks very, very cool. And then you can have the little diver. So it looks like we'll have some new staff to help us out with the aquariums. probably call them an aquarist. And I gotta say, this is incredible. Just look how beautiful that looks. You know, you've got all this sunken ship, you got all these fish, but you've also got all this coral decal and seagrass and kelp. I have to say, that's absolutely incredible. This is just next level. Like, this just about, like, if you took a picture like this and you put it, almost just looks like a real aquarium to me. It just looks amazing, and I'm just gonna be singing in this praises all day. Just amazing, amazing, amazing. And let's carry on. You can see another tortoise, not tortoise, turtle there. Made a look at the hawksbill. This is a hawksbill sea turtle. Actually got to see one when I was working at Kelly Towson's. We were rehabbing one. But yeah, you can see it's definitely a hawksbill because of the hawksbill, of course. And, you know, that fits much more the realistic style that later Planet Zoo had. So we'll have carry on seeing that, and then you can see it swimming, and then you got the molar again. Very interesting what other animals we'll get within the pack, within this, you know, the game later. But I gotta say, that's absolutely incredible. Just beautiful, beautiful aquariums. I'm really excited to see what people are gonna make with them, like proper aquariums. So it's gonna be so cool. And then we have a look up, and then we see all this extra stuff as well. You know what that is. You know what that is. We're going to be talking about it later. Same with this one and that one. You can see some of the buildings. So a lot of the themes have been reorganized and stuff like that. So we're going to have a lot of building themes. Instead of just getting the couple, we're going to get 5 returning themes and I think 2 or 3 new ones. We'll check back on the exact numbers when we look through there. But we'll talk about some of the new changes after we talked about the trailer. So you can see that's all the new things there. Trunk of Trinkets and Chief Leaf. So you can see some of the other stuff there. Bit of a walkway. Looking at some more animals in there. We'll have a look at the elephant later. We'll have a look at it now. So we've got to say, I love the original Planet Zoo African elephant. Looked really, really nice. But you can see this one's just been made hyper realistic. A lot more less cartoonish. This just about looks like you've just taken a real elephant, you know, and shoved it in the game. And you can see the wildebeest as well. Looks really, really nice too. That one, it looks like it hasn't changed much because that was one of the later DLCs. Looked very realistic. That was in the Grasslands pack. But the African elephant from the original game, a little bit more cartoonish. Clearly made a lot more realistic for this game. A lot of people clearly have been asking for their animals to be a lot more realistic. And so Frontier have been listening and remaking a lot of those older animals and making them look more realistic. And another great example of that, of course, is you can see here, this is the plain zebra. Looks a lot more realistic. Looks, you know, probably looks like it's based a little bit more on the Przewalski's horse as well. Looks absolutely amazing. Definitely a big fan of that. And then you've got here as well, this is a remake of the Western chimpanzee. Much more realistic, as I've kind of talked about originally. You know, the white face is something that's very much that face there is more on young chips to try and delineate from the bonobos. But yeah, that looks a little bit more realistic, and you know, you can see that hair detail is absolutely amazing. And then we move on. It's definitely brachiating, so it's nice to see some more. I hope we get there's some few things that I'm going to mention that I would like to see. But one of the things I'd like to see is more ropes and stuff, that you can actually make ropes rather than you know, just false stagnant like log and metal climbing systems. It's like some actual climbing ropes. Like you can make O-lines, like in you see at places like Auckland Zoo and Perth Zoo and Indianapolis Zoo. Like those O-lines, so they're actually ropes, not just planks. But cool to see the chimp brachiating. It looks really, really cool. Hope we get a spline system as well. That's some stuff I'd really like to see. As well. And then we got here, this is a saltwater crocodile, and you can see it's been completely remastered, much more realistic and absolutely incredible. And you can see it's hanging out on that buoy there as well, underwater aquatics as well. And then you see here that's a toucan, so you too can go into aviaries. So let's have a look at these new aviaries, and look absolutely amazing. You can see one flying over there. So these are apparently modular as well, so they're not like a modular like they are in Jurassic World Evolution 2, where you have a lagoon module and a you know, aviary module. These are actually dynamic modules of aviaries, which is absolutely amazing. And then you can see who's come to join us, the toucan. So absolutely amazing. That looks almost just like a real toucan to me. This game is just amazing. And you can see this is a walkthrough as well, so you can walk through and all the birds come hang out with you. And then you can see here, this one, they clearly looked at the meta wish list. Sorry about that, because clearly that was one of the most featured species, was the secretary bird. And you can see you've got glass there. You can see through glass and the mesh. So you can see these aviaries are quite dynamic. I'm really actually excited to see what if they're just going to do this style. I really want to be able to make as well. Hopefully we can make aviaries that look like more traditional aviaries, just like a box aviary and stuff like that, because a lot of zoos still have that. But I like this design as well. We should just, creativity. You probably would be able to make it if you just go plop, plop, plop like that. You should be able to make it. But you can see the secretary, the little girl copying it. Very, very cool. And flies off, does its things. And if you look there, you can see that's another T species. They're very sneaky with that. It looks like a good fellow's tree kangaroo. It's a lot of sneaky people already figured that out. And then you can see it's flying over, and it's not looking like a zoo. This looks like a reserve by the looks of it. So Planet Zoo 2, TM. And then you've got wildebeest and zebra and elephants living in a all perfect harmony together. But you can see, look, they're much more consistent in terms of style. Looks really, really cool. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. So pre-order now. It comes on the 13th of October. And then you can see this is the digital deluxe edition. So if you get the deluxe edition before the game starts, you get these pre-order to receive these, the photo wall and the donation bins and stuff. But if you want the deluxe animal size, you can get them with the golden eagle, golden lion tamarin, axolotl. So axolotl, I'm very interesting to see how the exhibit works, because we don't really haven't had a good look at them yet. The hammerhead shark, doesn't tell you which. Is it a great hammerhead or scalloped hammerhead? Don't know. The blue and gold fusilier and the long fin badfish. So very interesting selection there. And then of course that ends it up there. So that is our look at that. But here we're going to have a quick look at the Steam page. So we kind of went over that before. That's what you get. Build a wilder world through Planet Zoo 2, the sequel to the beloved zoo game. Let your creativity soar by constructing and managing distinctive zoos around the world, full of awe-inspiring animals, including fully aquatic and flying species for the first time. Plus, take the next step in animal conservation and release your species into customizable, expansive wildlife reserves. So very interested to see that. To discover a diverse roster of animal species, each with their own needs and behaviors, new faces join familiar favorites like the African lion and the Western chimpanzee to create iconic zoo rosters in jaw-dropping detail. So construct beautiful habitats for your zoos, for your animals, and in thrive in, and as they interact in the world among them in authentic ways, from authentic herding behavior, very cool to see that, to grazing on the vegetation you provide for them. Experience a generational leap in animal detail and immersion with incredible natural movements and expressive emotions that bring each animal to life like never before. Also, prepare your diving suits so fully aquatic species make a splash in their stunning debut. Build custom spectacular freshwater and saltwater aquariums, and to home an exciting lineup of delightful swimming animals. The new world beneath the waves awaits, filled with colourful shoals of fish, black-tip reed sharks, hawksbills, and so many more. Hawksbill turtles as well. And then we've got frequent flyers. Soar to great heights with a diverse mix of bright and beautiful, fully flying birds, including the vibrant Toko toucan and the majestic secretary bird. House your birds in fully customizable aviaries built from barriers, support poles, and dynamic mesh covers, allowing them to fly freely and safely. Observe their dynamic behaviors on the ground and in the sky as they glide around unique habitats. And yeah, another cool concept as well. Conservation goes beyond your zoo. Take on global conservation projects and meet specific requirements to release your animals into fully customizable, expansive wildlife reserves across the globe and living ecosystems created by you. So, build the zoo of your dreams across multiple globe-spanning biomes with 4 brand new scenery themes coming with iconic architecture from around the world and 5 returning themes from the original Planet Zoo, providing you with an extensive library of scenery items to build/create with. Effortlessly design your zoos using a range of ready-to-place blueprints and get creative with the Planet's franchise, iconic piece-by-piece construction, tools, and bring your own ideas to life. Delve into every detail with scaling, flexicolor, and easy-to-use pathing systems together with new foliage and terrain brushes to make grand changes to your zoos and wildlife reserves. So yeah, a lot of those features that were originally in Planet Coaster 2, we're going to see them in here too. and meaningful management. Construct perfect habitats for appealing animals and bring guests, boosting your zoo's rating and earning money to fund further expansion. Manage day-to-day zoo life as you create immersive spaces for your guests, packed with educational opportunities around every corner. Cater to these requirements with a variety of shops and amenities to curate the perfect day out. So join FEN, the Fauna and Ecosystem Network, in a fully fun-filled adventure across the world in career mode. Build a global network of zoos and wildlife reserves and trade animals with other players in franchise mode, or enjoy unlimited creativity in sandbox mode, of course. And what's really cool, you get to connect with your community. So discover a world of community content in the Frontier Workshop. Freely explore and download player-created blueprints and creations from across platforms, and subscribe to your favorites and place them in your zoos. So yeah, that pretty much gives a summary of everything. So as we look in here, we're going to have a look at, go through the site. We're going to start with features, and we're going to discuss them as we go through this. So very, very awesome. So, themes. So we can see there's 4 new themes. We're going to go right the way down. Okay, so we're going to start with, this is a bit confusing, but yeah, we'll have a look at that then later. So the ultimate zoo simulation. So the beloved zoo building game returns with expanded simulation, new fully aquatic and flying animals, manageable wildlife reserves, and a host of fan-requested features. So take up the reins as you conserve, create, and manage a wilder world. So, conserve, raise, and nurture and release a fantastic roster of animals and stimulated in incredible detail as you create comfortable habitats, meet their needs, and aid global conservation efforts. Create. Craft beautiful, bustling zoos and serene wildlife reserves using an extensive arsenal of accessible creative tools. Complete research, generate income, and support your staff as you manage the day-to-day operations of the zoos and your wildlife reserves. So yeah, very, very cool. Okay, so amazing aquatics. So prepare your diving suits. A new world beneath the water awaits, and fully aquatic species make their debut in stunning detail. Build spectacular freshwater or saltwater custom aquariums, making sure to keep things sparkling clean with filtration systems, and provide easy care for your keepers to dive into animal care. I think that's a really cool one there. New features. So I think that's a really, really cool one. We haven't obviously given too much detail about how it works, but I'm hoping it won't be too dissimilar from the habitat animals. I'd really like, personally, if they had not just animals needing salt or fresh water, but, a lot of animals needing, if you've ever played like Mega Aquarium, or even had an aquarium in real life, I've had to deal with aquariums. Often you have to deal with things like nitrates, the temperature, magnesium, especially calcium, especially if you're growing corals, because that's very important for corals. So you're having to manage all these different systems in your zoos, and each animal has different preferences. So then it'd be cool to have that as a management aspect, so you can't have certain animals together. Then you have to trying to find areas where they both meet well. So I think that'd be quite cool. As well, we've got down here awe-inspiring animals. So discover a diverse roster of amazing animal species, each with its own unique needs and behaviors. New faces join familiar favorites to create iconic zoo lineup in jaw-dropping detail, and from high fur fidelity, feathers and scales, through authentic breathing and sounds. So that's very cool. Nature in detail. Experience a generational leap in fidelity that brings Animal Kingdom to life like never before. So you have to say the elephant looks amazing. Literally just almost looks like a real elephant. Animals brought to life. An improved animal brain creates more natural and varied behaviors for animals, whether herding together, grazing from plants, or reacting to the world around them. So that's very cool. I'm actually very excited to see that, because obviously if we're doing reserves, they're going to have to be able to, react to things happening to them. So they're very much more reactive. I like that they are herding together, so you can have these big herds. That was one thing I asked for back in the day, wanting these big herds of animals, so you can have these herds, and which was well with the wildlife reserves. Grazing from plants, that's obviously going to be a big thing, because you have to use feeders for Planet Zoo 1, and Jurassic World 2 and 3 didn't have those, so that's kind of what's going on with there as well. So hopefully animals can get natural food from their enclosures. I think it'd be really cool if that becomes a bit of a management aspect as well. You know, you have to, if you don't provide feeders and you want to have an all-natural enclosure, you have to make sure it's a certain size, especially in reserves as well. You can't have it over carrying capacity, otherwise the plants, the grasses, and the trees in your enclosure might get, impacted. So you might have to put barriers between animals, elephants. Elephants are a perfect example. Very large, very destructive animals. So if you don't want your elephants destroying your trees and overgrazing their enclosure, you're going to have to protect the trees as well, and protect them through fences and barriers. So that can allow to more naturalistic enclosure builds, and actually means a management reason. You can't just put, trees in enclosure and the elephant be like, oh, whatever. It'd be cool to have them, if you want to keep them, you're going to have to make sure they don't get destroyed. So that's a really cool one as well. I assume dynamic hunting will be a thing. If we're going to do reserves, I assume reserves are going to have animals killing other animals. It's more of a natural setting. So I assume hunting and combat may be a bigger thing as well. Hopefully it's not Jurassic World Evolution style, more like Prehistoric Kingdom style, as they're developing their combat. It would be very interesting. Guess we'll have to see, though, on that one. And champion animal welfare. Care for your animals by building comfortable habitats, meeting their needs, and creating entertaining enrichment to help them thrive. So that's a very cool one too. So I'm very, very happy with how that's all come out. Cool, next one. So frequent flyers. Soar to great heights. A diverse mix of bright and brilliant flying animals make their debut in Planet Zoo, including the vibrant Torquay toucan and majestic secretary bird. So manage the dynamic behaviors on the ground and in the sky as they glide across fully customizable aviaries built from barriers, support poles, and dynamic mesh covers. So very interesting to see how that'll come out. I really would be interested to see if we could make what that system allow. Look at that. You can see that the zebra looks amazing. Build and manage the ultimate zoo. So craft immersive spaces for your guests, build custom habitats in jaw-dropping detail, and manage your talented staff and zookeepers to create and run the ultimate zoo in an amazing living world. So let your creativity soar. Effortlessly design your zoos and deliver every detail with Flexicolor, easy-to-use pathing systems, and new foliage and deranged brushes. So that's pretty much come from Planet Coaster 2, which I'm so happy about because that's going to make life so much easier. That's the biggest thing that stops me from building in Planet Zoo 1, is that it's just, if you want to build a big enclosure, you're going to have to put every plant in there manually. So being able to just put something down that's just going to make life so much easier. Meaningful management as well. So create the perfect day out for your guests as you run your zoo. Construct appealing habitats and support your staff with dedicated facilities and working areas. And they've also got a connected community to discover a world of community content in the Frontier Workshop, where you can find ready-to-use creations made by players and upload your own. So that's very cool. Love that aspect as well. And this is one that's very interesting to me. We've got wildlife reserves, or conservation going beyond your zoos. So design, rewild, and observe a network of entirely natural homes that allow your animals to thrive, all whilst maintaining a minimal staff presence. So you can conduct research and conservation projects in your wildlife reserves to improve your zoos, creating better habitat and a wilder world for all. So you can see a little video of that down there. I have to say I'm very impressed with that kind of idea, because that's one of the big things people ask for. You want to have more natural areas, and yeah, I think it's very interesting that they're doing that. I love that they're having bigger natural areas with minimal staff. I do hope that the maps will be large enough that you can do a safari park. Wildlife reserves and I imagine safari parks are a bit different, but you can create your own. You can still add trees and foliage and shape it to how you want it, but you can't. I assume you can't add too much in terms of building and stuff like that. It's more just kind of minimal things to, have staff around to study animals, minimal, infrastructure. Or there must be a limit or something. But yeah, having a big one so your animals can just play around. I'm sure a lot of people are going to have fun with this. I think it's pretty fun too. If you just want to create like an, wildlife reserve and, national park or something. I actually wanted a game that kind of did this, but I think Planet Zoo is uniquely situated to do a bit of both, because you've already got all the system in place there for zoo breeding, but you just don't need to do it with the fences, and there needs to be, animal hunting and stuff like that. And other than that, you've got the perfect game park simulator or something like that, or, wildlife reserve simulator. And I think it's cool that they did that with Planet Zoo too. So very cool. Nurture, release, and conserve. So conservation goes further than your zoo. Take on conservation projects and meet specific requirements to release your animals into fully customizable, expansive wildlife reserves across the globe and living ecosystems created by you. So that's a good one there. Wild the world. So manage interconnected zoos and wildlife parks, creating an international network of conservation that spans the globe. So that's cool on there. Living, breathing environments. Oh, that's cool. Turn a new leaf as you run your zoos and wildlife reserves throughout changing seasons, weather conditions, and longer in-game years. So you can see the comparison there. Bigger to smaller. I might actually make those a bit bigger. Can I make that a bit bigger? Oh, no, that's a bit big. Well, actually, yeah, that looks better to me. So we can have a look here so you can see. Da-da-da. The elephant there. Beautiful. That was just from the trailer. A little bit of a gift there. And then we've got the reserve there, and you can see the elephants and the wildebeest hanging around. Very interesting to see how that'll go. Anyway, we'll carry on. So you got longer in-game years. That'll be cool. You can have, different changing seasons. Hope animals change with the seasons, like you have summer, winter coats, or DS will have antlers, stuff like that. That'd be cool. And nurture for life. So lead conservation efforts for incredible animals, supporting them in their very first moments through their release into the wild. So yeah, you can probably potentially release animals from the wild into the zoo. So that's very cool. And theme. So this is very last one here is the theme. So this is the planet theme. So this is packed with essentials of any zoo. Returning favorites from Planet Zoo. The planet theme is everything you need. North, highly robust. The North theme is rugged scenery from the Northern Hemisphere's coldest regions. So yeah, North, imagine a lot of Nordic stuff, a lot of this hard stuff here. East, exotic, brilliant, bright, and tranquil. The East theme is packed with scenery to make it the ultimate tropical paradise. So it looks very, Southeast Asian, Indian inspired as well. South, very much, South African. The South theme is elegant scenery that gets you back to nature. And West, this is probably stuff that you find like Europe and North America. Temperate, pastoral kind of temperate. That looks quite cool as well. Excited to see the new themes. I wonder if it's like a modern zoo theme. I really hope we do get those O-lines. I think that'd be very cool. Could be a great DLC thing. But we'll have a look at the game modes. So we'll have a look at the game modes as we go through here. And look, if you guys want to sign up, subscribe, you get this free little, statue of a hawksbill turtle. So absolutely amazing. And we got seasons as well, so that's absolutely amazing. Right, so game modes. Let's have a look at the game modes. Build a wilder world across, this is the first one, career mode. So new career, so start your career as Fen, as a new conservation coordinator, helping champion conservation efforts and improving zoos worldwide. Step off on a journey across the planet, visualizing stunning wildlife reserves, distinctive zoos, and diverse scenarios, all while meeting an exceptional cast of characters along the way. Sounds pretty fun. Next up, we've got Sandbox. I'm going to be a Sandbox main. I love that. Don't know why they have wildebeest and glass, but whatever. The quintessential zoo sandbox returns, putting the power in your hands to create amazing zoos and wildlife reserves with an effortless suite of powerful creative tools. Choose the level of simulation and challenge that works for you before diving into building and running a zoo or wildlife reserve is well and truly yours. So what I really hope is that they allow you to, already the Planet Zoos one's already pretty good. I really hope they're able to, you can manually edit the genetics of the animals. So if you want to make sure you get a 100% size animal, you get that 100% of the time. I want to be able to edit those genes. That's probably the biggest thing I'd like to see, and maybe easier way to acquire the animals in Sandbox, not just the same version as in the normal game. Next up is franchise. So franchise is creating your own international network of interconnected zoos and wildlife reserves, trading animals with other players, and contributing to community conservation efforts. Make your mark on a wilder world and join a connected community of players across the globe. So very similar, to most, the original game. So that's not too different. Planet Hub. This one's interesting. So run a truly global zoo through the Planet Hub. A new way for you to manage your international network of zoos and wildlife reserves. Available in all game modes, the Planet Hub is where you can track your progress, access performance data, visit your different sites, and make decisions on your research and conservation projects, all from your menu. So that's going to be very interesting. I very much want to see how that goes. We've already talked about that. Zoopedia. Let's see if we can get the Zoopedia. Yeah, nothing's come out yet. News. Announcement. That's all it is. But let's look at the gallery. Here's some of the pictures. Screenshots and downloads. So plenty of screenshots and downloads there. Might have to put one of these on. Look at that. Look at that. Absolutely amazing. So let's have a look at the screenshots. There's so many screenshots. So many. We'll just keep on carrying on. So here is one. We'll start off with this one. Sleeping chimpanzee, very, very cool, very nice. Now that one's amazing. Let's see if we can actually, we can zoom into that one. Might actually zoom in a little bit more. There we go. So here is a really cool one here. So you can see different aviaries, aquariums. Looks like Sumatra tiger down there. Some aviaries, another aquarium, aviary. Really cool how they managed to get it on there. Looks absolutely amazing. The elephant, you can see elephant looks absolutely incredible. Look at the shine of the air. Look at that. That's amazing. Absolutely amazing. It's beautiful. Secretary birds. Absolutely incredible. Hawksbill sea turtle. Looks amazing on there. This is the Toko toucan in the aviary. Pretty standard. Here's another one looking at there. You can see this is the chimpanzee. You can see they can use the termite enrichment as well. Looks very, very good. No lack of climbing structures, but I really hope we actually can get some pretty good climbing structures in there, as I kind of talked about before. Before we get more of that, look at that remake of the saltwater crocodile. I like the new UI. It actually looks really nice. I'm a big fan of that. And you can see this is the new. I love the new AI. Like, so aquariums and exhibits. So we're definitely getting exhibits again. So we'll see how those are changed. That's one of the big things. We haven't seen how they've changed. I really hope they have. But yeah, so it looks a lot nicer there. Very, very cool. Very nice remaster. This is the golden eagle. Very beautiful animal. You know, looks amazing. Now, this is one of the other species. This is the golden line tamarin. Had some of these at one of my zoos that I've been to. Very, very cool. Another cool species, especially conservation. They're quite rare. Hammerhead. Don't know which hammerhead. I'm assuming it's a great hammerhead. I'm not 100% sure. This is the Fusia, the one there. I forgot the name of this one. Very, very cool fish. It was one of the 6 that came in there. So that's all the screenshots there. We'll actually have a quick look at here and see if we can find any different ones. That's all the same. Yeah, so same. That's the trailer. I like this one here. You can see the fur detail on the Sumatran tiger there. It looks absolutely incredible. And you can see it's interacting with the tree there. So it seems like there's going to be a lot more interaction with the environment. So the grazing one and the herding one seems something like straight out of, Jurassic World Evolution 3. So I'm glad we're getting more interactions with the environment. And I got to say, the fur detail on this guy is absolutely amazing. Yeah, and that goes through the screenshots again. Be able to keep carrying on. And we'll have a look there. And then we've obviously got help. So we'll have a look at the frequently asked questions. There is some things that kind of give us as well. So where does it launch? 13th of October 2026. Available on PC, PlayStation, and Xbox Series S or XS. How much? I'm not going to go into that. You know, that's pretty standard there. Deluxe Edition, we already talked about that. Deluxe Edition, 6 additional animal species as well as exclusive signs. Is there a pre-order bonus? Yes, there is a small pre-order bonus. What's new? We already kind of discussed that. A big, big leap. No physical additional animals. We're not going to have a look at that yet. Will there be, what are the differences? None, hopefully. What language is in? So these are all the languages you'll be finding it in. What accessibility options, UI, and a color vision difficulty mode. That's very cool. I'm glad to see those kind of things allow more people to play the game. Where can you buy it? PC, we talk about that. There's no plan to bring it to previous consoles, which is good. Xbox Pass, we don't have anything to share on there yet. Not coming to Switch. I don't think it could handle it. No, maybe not coming to Mac either, whether it be DLC. Of course they will. It's a Frontier game. They don't have anything to announce yet, of course. Support multiplayer. While there is no multiplayer in Planet Zoo 2, players will be able to share their creations, so that's pretty much standard. Will we be able to work with Gamepad? Yes. Yes, you can play it on mouse and keyboard too. So yes, you can do it either way you want. To require internet connection, you'll have to download it. However, you'll need to be connected for duplicates and stuff. Is there a build cap? Yes. Okay. I don't think the people will like this. The console version of Planet Zoo 2 features a complexity meter, which is a useful tool to ensure the best performance, no matter the hardware. Oh, that's going to suck. Because support monitors, yes. I don't have a high-spec PC or console. Can I still play it? Will be available. You can play it through GeForce Now gaming service, so that's cool. Will you continue to support the original game? Our talented team has moved over, so they're not going to support it. Here's a good one. Will Planet Zoo 2 feature cetaceans? So whilst we know dolphins, whales, and porpoises are popular species in the natural world, It is important to us that all animals represented in Planet Zoo 2 have environments that best reflect their requirements. We are mindful that there's a lot of ongoing research on the conservation of cetaceans and how rewilding programs for species within these groups are handled by modern aquariums. As with a number of other species, we're keeping a close eye on how the conservation community work evolves in this area. So they're not saying not for beginning, but maybe in the future they'll give us cetaceans. A great animal to add in DLC. You could bottlenose dolphin or even a blue whale if they want to go crazy. They got a mola, may as well go blue whale. They're not very common in aquariums either. But if they're going to do it, that would be the great way to sell it in a DLC, which I think is very cool. And will every species in Planet Zoo 2 be available to release in a wildlife reserve? That's a very interesting one. And I actually had a thought. What if we have a marine reserve or aquarium reserve, and you can have your whales and dolphins and that, and it's just a reserve. You're not going to make an enclosure for it. Why not? So educating our players on the natural world is an important part of the potential role that Planet Zoo can play in global animal conservation awareness. Something we're very aware of is how we represent the incredible species that make up Planet Zoo 2, which means that only species with an appropriate wildlife reserve can be released into these spaces. We consider each wildlife reserve carefully, identifying landscapes where we can introduce a mix of our animal roster and make the species feel as alive as our animals do, and make the spaces feel alive as the animal do. We hope we can continue to explore the wider wild world with wildlife reserves, and our species list can grow with them. That's very cool. System requirements. I'll be able to play this game. Doesn't bother me too much. But yes, very, very interesting. So, I'm very happy with what's come so far. I think the wildlife reserves are really cool, and obviously aviaries and stuff, they worked pretty much exactly as I hoped. So I'm really hoping that is going to come out in the wash and become amazing. There are some omissions that I want to say. I really hope that we get, the ropes and stuff. The climbing looks to be expanded. If we're getting tamarins, and they spend most of their time climbing, so it's expanded. I hope we were able to make the O-lines, as I kind of talked about before. But some big absences we haven't seen here is staff vehicles. I know there's been a lot of talk of staff vehicles. And with the talk of wildlife reserves, that seems like something that should happen. If you go out a safari park, I'd love to make a safari park type situation. So that makes sense. So that means vehicles makes a lot of sense to me. Exhibit overhaul. We do have an exhibit animal, the axolotl, that was part of the deluxe edition. So we've got a returning animal from that. But I'm not sure if that's going to change anything. I really hope, because I think a lot of people know that Frontier knows that not a lot of people are using the exhibit animals. So I really hope they get an overhaul so we can have different shapes and sizes and much more customizability within those enclosures as well. Deeper management gameplay. It seems to be a little bit there, but they haven't really touched on it. So it'll be interesting to see. Guest attractions and entertainment. Will be interesting as well. There isn't such thing as like a first person. A lot of people want a full first person. I'm assuming they're going to have the camera because they had it in Jurassic World Evolution 2 and 3 and First Planet Zoo. That was in a part of an update. So I'm thinking hopefully they may potentially have that and more guest experiences with animals. I think that'd be really cool. Bring a little bit, because I remember they did develop Zoo Tycoon Xbox. It'd be cool if they brought some of those things, like the water fountain and the feeding things from Xbox, and you could be able to feed your animals and clean this stuff. A little bit more Planet Zoo Tycoon style as well. Which I think would be quite cool. And one thing I'd really like to see, because if we're going to make safari parks and things and wildlife reserves, hotels and resorts, I think that'd be cool to be able to build resorts and places for people to stay, because a lot of larger zoos are actually starting to have places you can stay, like Taronga Zoo is another great example. Some of these larger zoos are actually starting to have hotels and places you can stay within the park grounds, so you can be around animals. So I think that's a great thing that you could add in this game as well, and I think that'd be quite cool, even if it's a later update. I think that'd be very cool. But yeah, hopefully this is not the last we will be hearing of Planet Zoo. I just want to check the news. Apparently there is going to be some more coming. So let's see. Cover this. Read more. There is going to be some more coming. I think that covers... There we go. So you can see there's the axolotl there. So I'm very excited to see how they're going to change the... Yeah, here we are. So we're just getting started. We're so very excited to finally give you our very first look into Planet Zoo 2. But don't worry, we have a lot more to talk about very soon, including some much-seen appearances at the Wholesale Direct at June 6th and the PC Gaming Show on June 7th. So some very interesting stuff coming soon. In the meantime, join the conversation and keep in touch by following our socials, subscribing to our mailing list, and keep your eyes peeled for updates. So that'll be quite cool. Yeah. Very, very cool. I am so excited to see how this is going to go. Absolutely amazing. So yeah, Planet Zoo 2 is just going to be the dream game. It's just going to be the GOAT, hopefully. Hopefully there isn't going to be a lot that comes out afterwards, but just looking at it, they learned from what happened with Planet Coaster. They just cooked. The seems Planet Zoo is definitely their baby. They just cooked with this one, and I'm so impressed. And I really hope they, if the what only thing that would really sell me on the game is if they didn't do that big exhibit rework that we were all hoping for. If they didn't do that, I think everyone would be like, oh. But I'm really excited how things come from. We got aquariums, aviaries. That's just literally what everyone wanted. Everyone was worried that they wouldn't do it, but they did it. It was. I was like that. Oh, they're going to do with Jurassic World Evolution what they're going to do with number 3, and they added babies and did that in modular building. So they clearly know what we want. They clearly been listening, and they clearly know what we want. So they've managed to give it to us. So yeah, I think this is a great place to end the video. I'm just gushing over the game. So yeah, I really hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you guys like and subscribe, always remember to hit the little bell icons to get notified about anything. See if you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you guys like and subscribe, and bye-bye.